All right, we are back on our website, and at this point, I think it is looking pretty good, especially for a website that was created by or could have been created by a person with very little to no programming skills. And I think more so towards the very little programming skills because you do have to have some knowledge of programming to code with ChatGPT. At this point, what I would like to do is upgrade our website to add a little bit more of functionality to the website now that we have a basic understanding, or at least now that we have started to gain a basic understanding of the building blocks of JavaScript and of the actual programming languages. So at this point, what I would like to do is take some time to create a tools section that can be added to the home page. And I would like for this tools section to be set up in a card layout. And I would like for us to create at least 4 tools that we can add to our home page in a card layout. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back over to ChatGPT, and we are going to ask ChatGPT to create a tools section for our home page and add 4 cards to the tools section. So we'll go ahead and also say 4 responsive cards to the tools section. So in order to do this, what we'll need to do is let's go ahead and copy all of our HTML and go ahead and paste it into ChatGPT so that ChatGPT has a starting point for creating the code. So now we are back in ChatGPT and we've copied our code. So let's go ahead and ask ChatGPT to create a tool section using the card layout and add 4 cards to our tool section. We'll go ahead and paste the code into ChatGPT. So here we've pasted the code into ChatGPT, and it is basically giving us a brief description of what the code does. And now we're going to ask ChatGPT to add a tools section to the code and use the card layout and make sure that they're responsive. Add a tools section to the code in a responsive card layout.
Sure, here's an example of how you can add a tools section to the HTML code in a responsive card layout. PHP copy code less than section id equals tools greater than less than div class equals container greater than less than a.
Okay, so ChatGPT at this point is reading off the code, and again, it's not necessary for us to have ChatGPT read off the code. So we're going to go ahead and copy this code. All right, we have the code, so let's go back over to our Riplet account, and we're going to paste the tools section underneath the resource section. So I'm going to go ahead and paste this in here, and let's see how it looks. All right, nice. So ChatGPT has provided us with 3 cards for 3 tools that we can now add onto our code. And at this point, they're not looking too responsive. So I'm going to go ahead and ask ChatGPT to add a display flex. Actually, to at this point, we just need to get the CSS. So let's go back over to ChatGPT and request the CSS. Add the CSS for the tool section. That's what we were missing. So let's go ahead and copy the CSS for the new tools section. And now we can take it back over to our code and we can go ahead and paste this above our media queries. So here we go. Let's go ahead and hit run. And now our tools should be more responsive. Very good. All right. And okay, this is looking good. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to start to build out these tools, and we'll actually build them out in CodePen, and we will, once they're fully functional, then we will bring them back over onto our application. So we can actually also provide a link directly to the CodePen. So let's go ahead and hop over to CodePen and we'll start to create tools. We'll probably create more than 3, but we'll start to generate some ideas for tools that we can add to our Healthy Habits website. And in this case, the purpose of adding the tools to the Healthy Habits website is, again, to add some functionality so that we're able to go beyond just the design of the website, and so that you are able to put those new foundational concepts into practice. And you're also able to see ChatGPT use those foundational concepts. So we're going to go back over to ChatGPT first, and let's ask for a list of 10 tools that we can add to our Healthy Habits website. Create a list of 10 tools that we can add to the Healthy Habits website.
Sure, here are 10 possible tools that could be added to the Healthy Habits website. Meal Planner, a tool that allows users to plan their meals and generate a shopping list based on their selections. Water Intake Tracker, a tool that helps users track their daily water intake and reminds them to drink more water throughout the day. Calorie Counter, a tool that helps users track the calories they consume throughout the day and provides recommendations for how many calories they should be eating based on their goals. Sleep Tracker, a tool that tracks the user's sleep patterns and provides insights into their sleep quality and recommendations for improving it. Fitness Tracker, a tool that allows users to log their workouts and track their progress towards their fitness goals. Meditation Guide, a tool that provides guided meditations for users to follow along with to help reduce stress and improve mental health. Recipe Finder, a tool that helps users find healthy recipes based on their dietary restrictions and preferences. Body Mass Index, BMI, Calculator, a tool that calculates a user's BMI based on their height and weight and provides recommendations for achieving a healthy weight. Goal Setting Tool, a tool that helps users set achievable health and wellness goals and provides guidance and resources to help them achieve those goals. Health Assessment Quiz, a tool that provides users with an assessment of their overall health based on their lifestyle and provides recommendations for improving their health and wellness.
Awesome. So ChatGPT has provided us with a list of 10 amazing tools that we can add directly to our website to increase the functionality. So the next thing that we're going to do is, now we're able to choose from this list of 10, and we've already actually done the meditation timer. So none of these have been created. And at this point, we can choose from any of the applications on the list. So let's actually start with the calorie counter. And so now that we have an idea of what we would like to create, the next thing that we're going to do is go ahead and copy the calorie counter section, and we're going to ask ChatGPT to write the code for the calorie counter. All right.
As a language model, I'm not able to create functional code with user inputs or database connections. However, here is an example of what the HTML and CSS code for a simple calorie counter tool might look like. HTML, CSS. Of course, this is just a basic example, and a functional calorie counter tool would require much more complex code and possibly even a database connection to store user data.
All right, awesome. And so with that, ChatGPT has provided us with the HTML and the CSS, but not the JavaScript yet. So let's go ahead and copy this code and let's see what it looks like at this point. So I've already copied the code, and now we're going to go back over to CodePen and we will paste it into the HTML. And then for the CSS, we're actually going to go ahead and continue to use the CSS that we have created with the style guide. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that from a previous application. And now we're ready to take a look. So at this point, again, it's not functional. We can choose it allows us to choose our gender, age, weight, height, weight, activity level. So let's go ahead and just put in some random information. Okay. Oh. And let's probably bring that down to 150 stationary. All right, and then calculate. Okay, and yes, so nothing happens here. And again, that's because of the fact that we have not added the JavaScript. So let's go ahead and ask ChatGPT for the JavaScript. Add the JavaScript for the code.
Here is an example of what the JavaScript code for the calorie counter tool might look like. Again, this is just a basic example, and a functional calorie counter tool would require much more complex code and possibly even a database connection to store user data.
So let's go ahead and copy the code. We'll go back over to CodePen and paste it in. Save it. And let's do male. Let's do age of 56. Let's do a height of 65 since it's in inches. Let's then do 200. All right, and we'll leave these two the same. So calculate. And then it does provide us with our daily calorie goal, which is 2,814 calories. So let's go ahead and change some of the inputs. So let's say we want to gain weight at this point, and let's go ahead and calculate. All right, so I went ahead and raised our goal. Let's say that we're extra active. All right, and let's say maintain weight. All right, looks pretty functional. I think that this would be a pretty good tool to add And this would give our visitors the opportunity to quickly calculate their calories and based on their lifestyle and their goals. So this is awesome. So this is one tool that we will add. Let's go ahead and save this tool. All right, looks good. Now let's go back over to ChatGPT and let's look at the code. Actually, before we do, let's take a look at some of the JavaScript that was used to create this code. So here, as you can see, we are still starting off by creating our variables. And here, as you can see, they use the keyword of const, meaning these variables will not change. And here, this is just getting the value, the HTML element that has the form ID. So actually, this is not selecting it by the ID, but it's just selecting the element. So here, this is selecting the form element, which is here. And then on the second line, it's actually selecting by ID. So when it says get element by ID, it is now referring to the HTML element that has the ID, which is set to gender. So if you look into the HTML code, you'll see that, oh, here we go. On line 5, this select element has the ID attribute and its value is set to gender. So, and it's pretty much the same as you look down the list. They are actually all except for the first one is selecting the elements by ID. And that basically gives the user the opportunity to input the value, and which is what will determine the value of these variables. So after that, ChatGPT then adds an event listener to the form. And in this case, again, the event listener is what will trigger an event to occur. And so in this case, it's listening for the event listener. It has an event listener added to the submit button. And when the submit button is clicked, and in this case, we need to come back up to our HTML to identify that the submit button is actually has the text of calculate. So there's only one button here, but when this button is then activated, this function is what takes place, and that's everything inside of this function. And so inside of the function, we'll notice that we have first, we have our values set. So it's going to get the values that were input into the form, and then it will calculate this metabolic rate using this formula. And here it uses a conditional statement, and it actually is an if else statement. So it is saying if gender equals male, then it is to use this formula. And if it does not equal male, then it is to use this formula. After that, it goes ahead and adjusts for the activity level. And here it is using these switch cases. And this basically allows for any of these options to be the case. So it just basically says that if this sedentary case is selected, and this is the activity factor that will be used in the equation. And this switch case format is good when you have multiple options to choose from. And then we have another variable that is created. And here we are calculating the calorie goal based on the user's goal. So again, here, this is where the user selects their goal, and depending on what type of goal is created, that is what determines the calorie goal here. So because there are multiple options, ChatGPT is again using this switch case option. And then the last thing that it does is it displays the result, which is what comes up after the button here. So this is the code that was used to create the calorie counter. And now we will go back over into ChatGPT and we'll take a look at the next tool that we can add to our code.